If it helps, I had a better time this year than last year.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about the 2025 Miami Grand Prix that I just went to. Now, normally when I review races or anything like that, I usually try to do it from my hotel room after the race. However, traffic involving this event was a nightmare, more so than usual in my opinion. And so I decided after dealing with some of the most frustrating driving ever, it was better to go spend time with, people and shower and try and get a good sleep before my early flight than to film super late. So we're filming now. Hi. Oh, also for this video, I am wearing a Las Vegas GP Fanatic sweatshirt that they did gift to me around the time of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. See how easy that was to disclose? Moving on, this is my second time at the Miami Grand Prix, and if you watched my video from last year or you watch my streams, you may know that the Miami Grand Prix is not one that I particularly have the best time at. Even as far as just the US races, it's not my ideal cup of tea, mainly because Florida and I have a love-hate relationship. It hates me and I love it when I leave. The amount of times I kept telling people I am a California princess through and through, I am not built for this humidity, I just am not. This weekend was a lot. When I had heard that there was going to be a thunderstorm possibly during the race, that worried me, not because I can't handle the rain. I hate in Florida, 10 minutes after the rain is done and the humidity tries to make your clothes strangle you. But really fast, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Rocket Money. As some of you may know, I have a smidgen of personal credit card debt and I have embarked on a no spend year, which means I am only spending on the necessities. So imagine my surprise when I thought I had canceled all of my unnecessary subscriptions and then Rocket Money alerts me that there was in fact an upcoming charge for a subscription for something from Apple. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you save more and manage your money better. I've been using Rocket Money for about a year and a half now, and honestly, I didn't know where all my money was going because I had put so many different auto pays on so many different credit cards like a fool. Not only did Rocket Money alert me in time to cancel that payment to Apple, but their budgeting tools have made it so that I am staying on schedule for my debt payoff. Go to rocketmoney.com/swellentertainment to get started for free. But if you would like to unlock more features, you can do that with premium. And thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Now, overall, I did have a better time this year because little reminder for last year, I had a campus pass and then I ended up getting, I think it was called the Dolphins Club, which was inside the Hard Rock Stadium itself as like a place to go for AC. I really did not enjoy my campus pass experience or my Dolphins Club experience last year, so this time I decided to go with a grandstand pass, and I decided to go through F1 experiences so that I would be able to get more content for my second channel, Girly Pop Go. I've talked about F1 experiences a lot. If you would like to see another video on just F1 experiences, I can do that over on Girly Pop Go. But F1 experiences is when you buy a ticket specifically through F1 itself, but usually the experiences part is that sometimes you can book your hotels through them as well, but also you typically get like an extra experience on top of just your ticket itself. I wanted to be in the start finish line, but that was sold out when I bought my ticket. But I ended up in the beach area, which was at turn 11 and 12. And very far from literally everything. The main complaint, as always with this track, is that it is a bitch and a half to get around. The Miami International Autodrome, as they call it during race weekend, it's the Hard Rock Stadium, okay? So it's a temp circuit, as I call it. It's not quite a street circuit because we're in a parking lot, okay, for the stadium itself. It's not laid out the best, in my personal opinion. I think there are more exciting circuits on the calendar, and I think there's more exciting circuits in the US, frankly. That's one thing. The racing is one thing. The other thing is getting around this circuit as someone without special access. This is a tangent. If you have a bridge on your map, I should be able to know if I'm able to cross it when looking at your map. I walked all the way from my grandstand in turn 11 to turn 1, okay? I did that whole trek thinking that I would be able to cross that bridge to get over to the F1 Academy paddock area where I was going to meet my friend, okay? Instead, I get there and oh my gosh, it is paddock club only, paddock access only. Now, this makes sense to me because it leads you directly into the paddock. Of course, it's paddock access only. Put that on the map. I'm yelling, okay. But put it on the map. That's all I'm saying, okay? It ended up being fine. I ended up walking, but God, like, come on. What are we doing? You also just need more bridges, in my opinion. I think you need way more bridges if possible. I think you also need way more screens. That was my main complaint last year with the campus pass. Not nearly enough screens, in my opinion. I still think you don't have enough screens. I don't think you added any more. I think you need better speakers in the campus pass general admission areas, frankly, but that's my opinion. So in March is when I bought my ticket, and for my starter beach grandstand ticket, here's my badge. In total, $1,700. Now that gets me my seat for the whole weekend. And then also there was a track tour experience, a pit walk experience, and a trophy photo. Typically, there's different days that you get assigned for when those experiences will be. Sometimes everyone with your ticket type will get that same experience at that certain time, but you do not get a choice of that time of experience. For me, it was Thursday night on media day before everything for the actual race was like open to the public, really. My main issue with this race, doing it for F1 experiences, is that I rent a car for Miami because I hate dealing with Ubers out here. Also, I get motion sickness when I'm in the backseat of a car, and I frankly hate how people drive in Miami. I'd rather battle them on the road with a vehicle than be inside one of those vehicles. And so you have to buy parking. The thing is that to buy parking for F1 Miami, it's based off of your ticket option. I bought my tickets in March. I got sent an email on the 17th of April letting me know that they would start submitting or sending out the digital tickets to us on April 21st. I did not get my ticket until April 24th. In April is when they start selling access to parking. Parking lots are assigned, like I said, based off of your ticket option. So until I actually had my digital ticket in my account, I could not even see which parking was still available. These should have been sent out sooner because many of the lots that were closest to my seating options were already filled by the time I got my tickets. That's my main complaint. My other complaint is that you guys rushed us for our special experiences. So if you want to see more footage of all of this night, it is already over on Girly Pop Go if you would like to go check it out. But basically, we were supposed to be getting 2 hours at the track with F1 experiences for our Thursday night experience, part of our starter experience, okay? They let us into the track a little bit past 5:30, which was when the time was supposed to start. Not terribly too far, but enough that I clocked it, okay? Then they loaded us into the track truck, the giant track trucks that you sometimes see for the driver parades. That's what they loaded us into. And then we got to do a track tour guided by a tour guide of F1 experiences, okay? Very fun. Done a few. This is nice. Then get dropped off. We then walk into the pit lane. We get to go walk through the pit lane. Doing it on media day was actually a fairly good day because a lot of teams were still setting up. A lot of drivers were out and planning strategies and such. And it's not like how I've done on other days where like the drivers are already out and the teams are all packed up and we're 2 minutes from curfew. It's before the first day of actual track time, so a lot of teams were still working, which was really nice. However, they did start pushing us out and kind of rushing us over to go to the trophy photo, which I was going to skip, but I was like, why not? Got our trophy photos, but even then we were closing in on time, and so I just kind of started making my way out because then I was like one of the last people, and still by the time I got to the end of the track and they were like, okay, you're done type of thing, it was like 7:10. I was supposed to go to 7:30. It's not that big of a deal, but like this is a lot of money, you know, and so it is annoying. Fine, but it's annoying, especially like rushing us out of the pit and all of that. And it's like, it's not just our ticket group. There's multiple other ticket groups going options. I think there was another one that said the Hero Grandstand as well was there at the same time. So it's just a lot of people, and to being rushed and things like that when we're paying all this extra money is annoying. Now, in the grand scheme of F1, was that extra money really making a dent? No, because they have $5,000 ticket options and higher. Okay, it's Miami. It's not that big of a deal, but something I want to know because it was irritating. Then, track day. Okay, get in. You're gonna park and you're gonna walk. Sometimes I walked 30 minutes. Sometimes I walked 20. Sometimes I walked 10. Okay, and that was because they let me into the wrong parking lot and it was closer. You will be walking. Then you walk to the circuit. Then you get in. You have your tickets. I walked to my gate and I was right inside at my grandstand. And so where I was placed, I would have liked to have been moved over more, but I also know that beggars can't be choosers. So where my actual seat was, you don't get it. I didn't get an actual choice of like which seat I was going to get. I do have someone at F1 Experiences that I've talked to a few times for helping me with booking and stuff. Asked if it would be a covered grandstand. He was like, I can make a note to make sure that you were in a covered spot. So that could have been why. So I was under the cover, which was very nice because sun. But also I was very far over and I had a pole blocking my view of things. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Again, I'm just making the notes of my experience, okay? I had a good time at this race. I do like being in this area, frankly, for the viewing experience to see a decent part of the track. Where I was this far over, it was very hard for me to see the straightaway, but I could see most of the turn 11 and into turn 12. But the blind spot, because of the Hard Rock Beach Club, does kind of suck. Like when Fernando Alonso ended up crashing, I could not see that car whatsoever from where I was, and he was just there. I do think being further in the middle of this grandstand would have been more enjoyable experience for me. We did have a screen. I don't think there's enough screens overall, frankly. Again, as I've said, I can't complain for my seat option because I had a great screen and the audio was very good actually in the seat, so there's that. But yeah, no, overall the circuit, you guys need more screens. F1 Academy. They're so much bigger this year. This is better, I think. F1 Academy is the all-women's series, development series for Formula One. Okay, now, again, whenever I talk about F1 Academy, people are like, these are not the pinnacle of women in racing. Ugh. Listen, I don't know how many times I have to tell you that these cars are like the equivalent of Formula 4 cars. No one is saying that these drivers are going to go from F1 Academy to F1. Not a one. Just bringing attention to women in motorsport. Bringing attention to these cars, these drivers. Getting excited, trying to encourage more women to get into the sport so that maybe one day we can once again see another woman in Formula One. I like this series and everyone can go kick rocks. Anyways, I wore my F1 Academy hat so much of this weekend. The F1 Academy paddock and the Porsche Carrera Cup paddock are open to the public, aside from the times when they're moving vehicles and they have them closed off, but they're pretty much always open. They always have the cars out. Sometimes drivers and team personnel are in there working and stuff, so you can actually go and see them at any point in the weekend. I do think it's one of the best accesses of parts of this track, frankly. And so with F1 Academy this year, there is more cars on the grid, so the garages were actually way bigger, which I do think was better overall. Probably better for airflow as well because of how hot it is. Bigger garage setups, okay, and then also more view, more room, wider gap between the garages, so when you were walking between the paddock, it wasn't as cramped. Fantastic. They also had their hospitality in a different zone, so it was a little more bigger space for the drivers and stuff. So all in all, lots of improvement here for F1 Academy. Much appreciated. Spent a little bit of time in the Porsche Carrera Cup paddock, but not a ton. I'm gonna be totally frank with you. If you want to see videos of that, over on Girly Pop Go. Girly Pop Go, for those of you who don't know, is my motorsport and car hobby channel. It's just for funsies. I enjoy myself at these races, and I wanted more content that doesn't fit with here with you guys because you guys barely tolerate me talking about motorsport. The Red Bull Miami energy station is out here, and they have the V-Car show car out. I'm gonna go real fast. Look at that. That is so funny. Right, there's the car. Okay, cool. I think someone at Miami heard me talking about the food at the Miami GP. Defending the food at the Miami GP, if you will, because they decided to be like, no, we're going to embarrass Swell and add money to the pricing. Last year, there was a lot of fake social media drama, in my personal opinion, about the food at the Miami Grand Prix, okay? Because it was a really, in my personal opinion, manufactured by influencers complaining about the cost of things when they were themselves not paying for things. In the areas that they were, I know they were not paying for those things. So I was like, justice for the food of the Miami Grand Prix. And then I went to the Miami Grand Prix and it was so much money. And I know a lot of that potentially could have to do with the current economic state of the United States. That could just be the inflation jumping in on things because of shipping and the like. Who knows? Okay. But I spent a lot of money on food this trip in a way that I am not happy to admit. Okay. Even my cheap options, going to get a pretzel, sad, dry, and also not cheap, annoying, but they have water stations everywhere, which I do appreciate. You do have to have a bottle or something, so either bring a bottle yourself, as long as it's empty, should be fine getting it in. What I did, which was actually smart, is go to one of the lemonade spots, get an old-fashioned lemonade. It's like a giant cup. Drink that, and then take that while they're still icing it and fill it in the water thing. Keep the party going. Last year, I attempted to walk the entirety of this track, and I don't think I did. This year, I know I did. I saw everything, okay, that was at this circuit. And in this circuit, one of the things that I knew was going to be there leading into it, especially now that I've done Vegas and Austin, was the Lego booth. Now, going into the weekend, I had heard about the giant Lego cars. They had a garage where they made life-size versions, 1,000th scale versions of the Lego Formula One cars that they released. Not affiliated with Lego in any capacity. I bought these with my money. Okay, anyways, I bought these in December, by the way, so this did not impact my no-buy. These are the Speed Champions. Yes, I have all 10 teams. No, I have not built any of them yet. I was going to do it on stream. It's still going to happen on stream, but yeah, I'm insane. Anyways, they made life-size versions of these Lego cars for all of the team cars. So they had the Lego garage where they had all those cars on display. And then they also had the pit shop spot where you could go and actually buy the different Lego collections that they currently have available. A lot more teams did a lot of specialty merch items for Miami, which is very fun. I did not buy anything because I'm being responsible, but I did like some of the pieces. So the rain situation, first day there was no rain. Day 2, there was quite a lot of rain. So day 2, we had qualifying for F1 Academy in the morning. I made sure I was inside for that. The rain was not supposed to start until later. And the entire weekend as well, when they were talking about the rain, they talked about it saying, oh, it's supposed to happen after the race, like for F1 specifically, and that it wasn't supposed to rain really before that. However, during qualifying for F1 Academy, the rain started. It is F1 Academy qualifying and it is raining. It is raining right now. Oh my
Transitioning seems really vital. Yeah, that does make
really glad I was right in front of a runoff zone, so a lot of the F1 Academy drivers started going off track. And so if you want to go check out my other socials, you may see clips of me yelling and screaming as if I'm on the team and they can hear me when I'm saying, it's okay, you can do it. No! Okay, we're good. We're okay. We're okay. Come on. Come on. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. We can do this. Come on. All of the drivers were then able to get back out and set their times for their qualifying. Race 1 ended up happening as planned for F1 Academy. During race 2, it was pouring rain while they had been getting set up on the grid before their formation lap. It had started raining. So then they decided to do the formation lap under safety car, and then the formation lap again under safety car, and then they called a red flag because visibility was just too bad. Said the race will not start because of the schedule for the day. Whenever that gets brought up, the amount of people that are like, these drivers aren't the best in the world because they're not driving in the rain. The amount of the drivers that made comments, they were like, we are so excited for a wet race. So many of them wanted to drive. It is not physically safe for these cars to be driving in these conditions. There is multiple times of F1 races being postponed or, rescheduled because of severe rain as well. And in these instances, these cars are smaller and lighter, and they are just built differently in a way that they will not handle and properly protect these drivers if there was a severe crash in the rain, okay? There is a level of risk that goes into this sport, but at the same time, there needs to be a level of necessary risk, and making these drivers drive in these conditions was not part of that necessary risk. So they decided to not start the race and then ended up not being able to be postponed. The amount of misogyny I overheard from men about the F1 Academy drivers this weekend was truly fucking abhorrent. And I was very excited for the F1 Academy this weekend. Abby Pulling, who was the current F1 Academy champion, who is now racing in GB3, came back to do commentary for the races and did an incredible job. A side note, if anyone from F1 Academy sees this, Susie Wolf, anyone else, okay? Hi, Abby did a great job. So did Carrie when she did the commentary. Please continue to bring drivers in to do commentary for these races. It works really well. I enjoy it. Please do. Incredible progress compared to the weird fucking comments from the on-site commentators last year. That was that. Obviously, I was bummed that the second race did not happen, but I was very excited because as I was talking about it on social media, the amount of you guys that were messaging me like, wait, you made me excited to watch this race and now it's not happening, was actually like really heartening for me to hear. I'm sorry that the second race did not happen, but they are going to be racing in soon and you can watch it for free on YouTube, okay? So go watch the F1 Academy drivers, okay? Thank you. It was a sprint race weekend. I don't hate sprint races. I hate the coverage of sprint races. I like sprint races when the drivers try. I like sprint races when the teams fight, okay? I don't like sprint races when they're just like, what's a couple of points? I don't like those. But we actually had history made for sprint qualifying this year in Miami. So Kimi Antonelli is currently the youngest driver on the grid. He is 18 years old and he made a record this weekend. He made a few actually. I think he's the youngest to set a fastest lap at Miami specifically because there's only so many years that this has been going on, okay? And then he is the youngest pole sitter ever. So pole sitter is when you qualify to start in first, basically. That's the pole sitter. So he is the youngest pole sitter ever. So that's really cool. So that was for the sprint race, okay? And that was really cool to see live, and I was really excited. That was really fun. And then sprint race the next day. So F1 Academy in the morning, then sprint race, then regular F1 qualifying after that. During the sprint race, I knew it was gonna happen, okay? Because as always, I am a McLaren girl. My driver is Lando, but I also like Oscar, despite what's going on currently. There's a lot happening at McLaren, but I'm also one of those fans always, before anyone loses their minds at me. For my teams, it doesn't matter how much I like them, teams, drivers, or whatever, I will still criticize bad behavior and behavior I find stupid, okay? So I can like both of these drivers and also acknowledge that it's like weird how they're going about this. I can like Lewis and Charles and still occasionally criticize Ferrari. It's called having critical thinking skills, okay? Because for some reason, every time I bring something up, they're like, oh, well, what about this? I didn't say I was gonna marry the person. What are we talking about? I'm not gonna vouch for them in court. What are you doing? I just think it would be cool if they won. That's it. So Kimi is starting in P1 in the sprint race. Second and third was Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. I think Oscar was starting P2 if I'm remembering correctly. And I literally posted and I messaged my friends and was like, are we gonna watch these two dogpile an 18-year-old? Because Kimi might be a Formula One driver. In my brain, that's still an infant. That is a child. If you're younger than my little brother, in my brain, you're like an infant, frankly. So that's that. My brother's like 23 now. Watch him be 24 now. Didn't quite happen that way, but Oscar did end up taking over that pole position. Lando ended up winning that race. It started raining during the sprint race, and so we actually started getting pit stops during the sprint race. The sprint race was insane, okay? Because sometimes people are like, sprint races are boring because some of the drivers aren't going all out, some of that, but like, again, we're early and on enough in the season where like a sprint win or placing well in a sprint could do a lot in the Drivers' Championship, okay? And so that, and then when it started raining, we started getting all these pit stops and people trying to do different, it was so good. It was so good. It was such a good, it was, if you go watch the sprint race, please do. Like I thought I was literally like this, like half of the race, because it was insane. I was like, what are we doing? We're pitting? Oh, okay, sure, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's go. All right.
Look at going into the pits. Yellow flag! Where? Screaming. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Did it start raining or did it stop raining? One of the two happened. Pit stops happen, which normally does not happen in a sprint race typically because there's less fuel and they're zooming.
Oh my God. Debris in the pit lane just flew all over it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. No! What the fuck is happening? Everyone's losing their minds.
Lando ended up winning the sprint. Oscar P2, Max P3. I'm blanking. Go check the results. That's unimportant to this. I'm just talking about the spectator experience, okay? Because this race was insane, okay? The sprint race itself. The sprint was crazy. Then we had qualifying. Wait, pause. Sorry, I forgot the most important part. Okay, so remember the Lego cars? Before every race, there is a driver's parade, okay? It's usually a couple hours early, okay? And sometimes they do interviews with the drivers. Sometimes they just do something fun to have the drivers go around and basically show them the whole circuit, show them off to all the fans and attendees that are there, okay? And then they go back and then they do like the national anthem, et cetera, all of that stuff. This time though, the driver's parade, they were in the Lego Formula One cars. Those life-size Lego Formula One cars didn't just seat two drivers in them. No, they could drive. I think they got up to 20 miles per hour for each one. That's how they did the driver's parade. This was maybe the greatest spectacle I have seen in this sport in a while, okay? This was insane. The drivers, gleeful. Because at the end of the day, these guys are still just dudes. Of course they want to race Lego cars and bump into each other. And at first I was like, there's no way they're going to bring them around the entire circuit. They did. It was really fun. It was a really cool thing. It was so smart. Everyone's still talking about it. That was so smart, so well done. And also Lego, if you see this, I'm a really good driver and you should let me drive one of the Formula One Lego cars. I'll come to you, just tell me where. They did crash into each other, like I said. Max was like, there's Lego debris on the track. So I just know those master builders were stressed out after that, okay? But very fun. All right, the race itself. So we had quite a few DNFs. I think it was lap 25 I filmed, so before Ollie DNF'd, okay? Before most of the DNF drivers pulled out. Just so the gap and all the drivers for TikTok, I don't know if I'll include that here, but it was definitely the gaps for the McLarens and even the Red Bulls, like those cars are going crazy fast. Oscar ended up winning. He ended up keeping his lead of the Drivers' Championship. Lando was P2, George Russell and Mercedes was P3. And then Yuki, my GOAT, got points in Red Bull, 1 point. but a point still. I appreciate it. Overall, I had a better experience at this race than I did last year, but also this year I had Girly Pop Go motivating me as well. Last time where I was just like, oh yeah, the overall view, and then, you know, having fun at the race itself, which I always have the goal of having fun. I love this sport. It's very fun for me to go to these races, to then go and do that as well, and also be like, oh, what can I do for Girly Pop Go? And the back of my head was also a fun motivator as well, because I like working. It's crazy. Okay. But I had a lot of fun at this race. Even with my downsides, like my goal is still always to have a good time. So that's what I did. Something you need to know that I don't think they make clear enough is that when the race is done, they do close off certain elements to regular street traffic, okay, for the main street outside of the stadium. So I walked back to my car, and then I was messaging with my friend, and she was like, oh yeah, we're like at this Walmart, okay, which is on the other side across from the stadium, okay, opposite of where I was. And I was like, oh, do you guys need a ride? She was with her dad. I was like, do you guys need a ride? And she was like, no, we're fine. And then what ended up happening is that their driver canceled, which happened a lot because drivers would realize that they had no really easy way to get to that side of the intersection, basically, because of the closures. I think the closures need to be a bigger deal. Also, side note, I know it's street traffic, and so this is really not on the part of the stadium / circuit / Miami GP, okay? However, if you are in charge of the parking, and I have to walk off site to the parking, I think you should also have to have a little bit more responsibility for how the traffic is being guarded and directed and all of that, because that was a nightmare. That was a rough. I was not that far from them. It took me like an hour to go and get them because of the closures and having to reroute and not having it be clear which streets were open, which ones weren't, until I was already at that blockade. So irritating, annoying. Do I still think renting was the right way to go? Yes, because like I said, a lot of people were having their Ubers canceled. So they stopped they stopped some girls from Colorado from getting into a car, like just getting into some dude's car because they couldn't get a ride. Guys, I don't know what's going on. I swear, post lockdown, I swear people had more self-preservation before lockdown. I'm not even kidding. Like I really do think that happened. It's like, oh, but like, we just need to get out of here. Don't get in random people's cars. I know that saying that as I'm talking about Ubers and Lyfts, but still, my God. Anyways, keep in mind, most offsite activations, whether you are a creator and you're going to an event, an influencer and you're going to an event, or you are going to like a fan event, most of them are in Miami proper, where the race itself is actually in Miami Gardens. Traffic is a nightmare. Traffic will delay you. Do not think you are going to get from the track at 4 and by 4:30 you will be at another event. That just will not happen. Plan for that to not happen, okay? Just so you're aware. Plan accordingly. All in all, will I go back to the Miami Grand Prix? Maybe. Honestly, if it weren't for F1 Academy, I probably would have found a way to get out of going to this race. I would have gone to a different one. But also, again, I didn't go to Japan. So this was the consolation for me not going to Japan for content purposes, and my team and stuff was me going to Miami. So would I like to go to a different race instead next year? Yes. Miami, with love. I think we're long distance lovers. I don't think we need to spend so much time together. You know, why are you being clingy? Why do you want me there? It's giving desperate. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. They don't want me there. Right now, the only other scheduled race for F1 on my calendar is Vegas. That's basically my home race, so that's much easier. I'm not planning on doing Austin this year, but I am open to pretty much every other race on the calendar. But we shall see how it all goes. As always with F1 experiences, read what your ticket option gets you, because just because you spend more money does not mean you're getting more access or anything like that. I'm of an age and a personal life preference where I want to have a seat, okay? I am not a campus pass general admission person anymore. I'm just not. I like having a seat. So I am willing to spend more money if it means getting me a seat. And so if that's you, also consider that as well, because there just is not a ton of seating when it comes to the campus pass options. In food areas, yes, but that does fill up quickly, especially if it's raining. And then also where I was able to stay in my seat and be comfortable during the rainy portions of the weekend. I don't know if we'll ever get another rain race in Miami, but it was crazy. But that's really going to be it. Did you watch the race? Did you watch the sprint race? Did you watch the F1 Academy race? Is this the first time you've ever heard of F1 Academy? Is it because of me? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. A reminder to check out Girly Pop Go. Shout out to my channel members who also support me on channel memberships. You can go ahead and click join down below if you'd like to follow me on social media. That'll be all up here, and that's going to be a hello day. Ka-chow. No, but seriously, it would be like so cool and chill of you, Lego, if you let me drive one of those Lego F1 cars.